Yo guys, welcome back, it is Ripe again, back with more ProRevenge. Story number 1 is titled, She Broke My Heart, I Broke Her Career. Backstory: my ex-fiancé and I were together a good amount of time. I fell in love with her, put a ring on her finger and was completely loyal to her for the whole stretch. I will use J for short. J decided to tell me that she was not happy, she needed a break. She was no longer in love with me, and after some digging, I found out she was screwing around behind my back. When confronted, she deleted everything. Compared to her phone records, there was quite a bit missing. After betraying my trust and lying to me for 8 months straight, I felt it was necessary to even the playing field, considering she was not feeling the same hurt I was feeling. Now onto the revenge. Jay worked in the car sales industry, and during her time there, she would send me surveys to complete if she thought her customers would leave a bad one. It's an industry norm, but never talked about. Negative surveys lead to a lower average, and if the average drops below a certain point, she owes money. If it stays above, she gets money for every positive survey she has. This is against her company's customer privacy policies, and we would intentionally leave the house so my home IP would not be attached. I was getting credit card offers in my email for these customers. On top of the survey fiasco, she was taking certification tests for people at her workplace for cash and who knows what else. The worst part was the guy she was screwing around with was a co-worker. She originally masked her texts with him by saying she was working a deal. My next step here was to write this all up, send it to the manufacturer, her employer's corporate office and the trainer for the region. I also included some media sites, made it so they would feel more inclined to take action. The next day I was contacted by her corporate office and asked to call in to provide more detail. I did and was assured that this matter will be investigated swiftly. I was able to provide the emails to corporate, and that's what ultimately sealed the coffin. During this ordeal, I was not quiet about it. I told Jay what I was doing. She thought the managers had her back and she was untouchable. A day passes, she leaves for work, and an hour later she returns, screaming and crying about how she got suspended. The following day, I get a text from Jay saying she had been fired. Not only did she lose her job, she lost her career and she will never step back into a car sales position for the rest of her life. Interesting story actually, because in the first place, the OP actually helped her to cheat in her line of work, but then she actually turned on him by cheating on him with another guy. Roommate deleted save game files I have had since I was 11. This might seem petty to some of you, but gamers know how absolutely sacred game save files are. You don't F around with them, and if moms knew how to delete save files, no kid would ever misbehave again. I was super lucky in 2001 when GameCube came out. We were not wealthy. I had only just gotten an N64 maybe 6 months prior, so when my uncle bought me a GameCube for Christmas, it was surreal. I played that GameCube for over a decade before the disk drive finally crapped out. Among the save files, an Animal Crossing town over a decade old, multiple level 200 Phantasy Star Online characters playing exclusively offline, every emblem and A rank mission on Sonic Adventure 2, plus an all-S Chaos KO, and we even got the infamous 1 million matches on Smash Bros. Melee. Though I never got terribly good, somehow. Plus a myriad of other games, and I was a sweaty nerd. Fast forward to 2012 or 13 or so, I am living in a lousy apartment with an even sweatier nerd and a few others. Let's call him Sedgwick because I cannot think of a more unfortunate nerd name. Sedgwick and I barely tolerated each other. He was filthy, crass, greasy and lazy as hell. He too was a gamer, but almost exclusively played World of Warcraft as he had always done since launch. One day, I get home and feel like playing some Animal Crossing. I boot up my Wii, which housed my GameCube memory card, and my heart absolutely sank into the abyss. Far Cove was gone, and instead KK Slider was walking me through the creation of a new town. I quickly reset my Wii and held the A button to open the memory card file. Empty. A 2000 plus block memory card wiped clean, save for a basically blank melee file. I am stunned, in a state of disbelief. The feeling was exactly the same as when I had been in a car accident. That state of, that didn't just happen, did it? My late childhood was basically gone. I immediately confronted Sedgwick, who started laughing his ass off.
I did that months ago, I totally forgot,
he said.
I was drunk and you did something that pissed me off, I don't remember.
I wanted to break his teeth, or worse, but I just walked away and sobbed in my room for a few hours. It felt like I had lost every photo of a deceased family member, or that a whole chapter of my life simply never existed. I decided to get even. Now what Sedgwick did not know, but I did, is that I knew his World of Warcraft password. He accidentally typed it into Skype instead of his World of Warcraft window, while the 4 roommates of us were gaming. Nobody noticed it but me, and I flooded the chat with messages and links to conceal it. Luckily for me, his security tag thing was clipped right to his PC instead of his phone app. I thought about deleting his WoW items or characters, but I learned online that it was easy for Blizzard to reverse that. No, I was going to get him, and his massive collection of very endgame characters he had been playing for nearly a decade permanently banned. His work schedule was always the same. I myself am disabled and had several hours every weekday where I was home alone to exact my revenge. First thing I did was get a few basic bot/script programs and hit them on his computer. I don't know shit about WoW, but I know a bit about computers. It took me a couple of days to figure it out, but pretty soon I had some automated farming going on his account, which is a big no-no on World of Warcraft. Next, I bought some gold for his account from a third-party seller and made sure to leave some incriminating messages that I figured Blizzard would see if they investigated it. Thirdly, I would start being very toxic to people. I used racial slurs that were poorly censored, shouted my not real toxic opinions about homosexuality, and said anything I could to get folks to report me. Sure enough, a few weeks of this and Sedgwick's account gets banned during a large-scale ban wave. What followed was an absolutely legendary meltdown, and the guy was 23, obese, with an awful hair and skin, and he was bawling his eyes out. He got on the phone and basically had a screaming match with the Blizzard rep, which got him nowhere except that they would investigate further. The next day, I called Blizzard, paraphrasing. Hey, I think my account might be banned. It's account's name. Representative pulls up account. I just need to verify your information. Me, my name is Me. I just bought the account from Sedgwick today and I think he sold me a banned account. Rep. You know that buying or selling Warcraft accounts is against our terms of service, right? Me. Oh, I didn't know that. Which is a lie. Rep. The account was banned yesterday. Sedgwick tried to sell you the account today. Me. Yes, I paid him $80 this morning. Rep. Can you stay on the line and verify some information for me? I went on to basically naively confirm that not only Sedgwick, Van Sweaty Nerd, the original account owner by full name, sold me an account against the TOS, he did so knowing it was banned. Seeing the realization set in over the next week that he was not getting his decade-old account back was absolutely delicious. It gets even better. In a fit of rage, he broke his expensive monitor, destroyed his expensive keyboard, and when I grinned at his misfortune, he took a swing at me. And I got to knock him on his ass in self-defense. Justice reigns from above. Now I'm curious, have any of you also played Animal Crossing? That was honestly one of my favorite games of all time. I remember times when I woke up super early or stayed up very late to witness specific events inside the game. Those were really good times. Alright, let's move on to the next story. Steal my Pokemon cards? I guess I will replace your cards with fake ones. Backstory. Me and my family recently moved for my dad to work and now recently became friends with some guy that was at his new place and just so happens to have a son around my age and lives almost a street away. The cast is me, Dad, Snobby Kid SK and Snobby Kid's dad. One day I received a knock on the door and I ran over to check who it was. It was SK and his father SKD. I opened the door and greet them. My dad appears later and tells me to hang out with SK. We got upstairs to my room. I was on my PS4, but I did not have an extra controller, so I just decided to turn it off and get to know the kid. As I turn it off, I see the kid whip out some Pokemon cards. SK, my dad told me that you're into Pokemon, I have some too. Me, cool, let me get mine out. I stumble over to my drawer and pull out a stack of my most precious Pokemon cards, and I walk back and we exchange cards and look at each other's cards. SK, wow, you have Mega Charizard X and Y, awesome. Me, thanks, it took me a long time and lots of money to even find one. I suddenly have the urge to pee and step out for no more than a minute. I return and he asks me if he could play on my PS4, so I say yes and put away my cards without checking them. A couple of hours pass and he leaves. I notice him acting strange and avoiding me. I thought I made a bad first impression and go a long way. Later at night, I'm bored, so I check my cards. Where are my 2 Mega Charizards? So then I realize SK took them. I get mad and start thinking, do I tell my dad? No, that might ruin their friendship, but I was due to visit them next week at their house. I start brainstorming and I come up with a plan. SK did not have many cards. His only good ones were maybe a Gardevoir X and a Mew X. I look on Amazon and spend some money on fake cards I can remember he had. A few weeks roll by. The cards are in my pocket and I appear at SKD's house. His dad greets me and I walk to SK's room. He awkwardly greets me and I act like nothing has happened. Soon I ask to see his cards. He scans me and seems satisfied that I'm unaware that he stole some cards. As he reaches for his cards, I notice he has set some aside. Me, what is that? SK, awkwardly, just some extra cards I have. Okay. I hold his cards in hand and we start a conversation, and after a while his dad calls him. The perfect opportunity. As if it's a chore, I immediately switch out the cards, including my Charizards. I pocket the real ones and keep the fakes in my hand. He comes back and it seems nothing has happened. After hours of conversation, I have to leave. He has not noticed whatsoever and I plan to keep that up. Yo Rapstars, what about you? Have you ever collected cards like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh or others? Tell us in the comments, because when I was young, I had literally thousands of Pokemon cards. And actually, I still have them in a huge folder, and honestly, no regrets for the money that I've spent back then. Alright, so those were all the stories for today. I hope you enjoyed the ProRevenge content. If you did, please consider to like the video and subscribe to my channel, as that helps me out immensely. I hope you have a great day and I see you in around 6 to 7 hours when I upload my rslash entitled people video.